We're back here on the platform this evening, speaking with Latrae, Rahming, and Daniel Lowe, and we're talking about Chinese investing in the Bahamas. And these two young men are attending university in Beijing, and at the same time they are about encouraging foreign direct investment to the Bahamas. And you know, you sell real estate. You're trying to get Chinese businessmen, Mr. Lowe, to buy real estate in the Bahamas?
Well, like I said, you know, with the personal, although I come under the name of real estate, what we're looking at is for developments, right? So you have a lot of high net worth individuals in China who are looking, they have the money, but they're just looking for places to put the money, which would give them a return on investment. What are they looking for? They're looking for countries that have a stable political environment, the high valued currency, the economy is working well, geographic location, and a product that's unmatched. As the Bahamas, we meet this criteria beautifully. What is our biggest problem? They don't know about us. So we have everything, and we're ready to offer it, and they're ready to pump billions, not millions, billions of dollars into these countries, but they are unaware of us. So we as a Commonwealth of the Bahamas need to start, we are behind, in the global community, we are behind in attracting the Chinese RMB to the country. We are behind. We need to now take this incentive. You see, we have this net mentality, right? We're saying, oh, Bahamas is going to do everything for us. Bahamas does an exceptional job, by the way, in putting the Bahamas on the map, because they're spending the private dollar and doing the marketing for the Bahamas. Because if you want to do any business in the Bahamas, if they Chinese want to come to a hotel, Bahamar, in the Bahamas, they have to first know, what is the Bahamas? Where is the Bahamas? Who's the Prime Minister of the Bahamas? What is it like in the Bahamas? You know, it's a beautiful. The thing is what people don't understand with the Bahamas, with our 700 islands and keys, we have a product that, no matter how much money you have, you cannot replicate it. The beauty of the waters, the land, the geographic location, it cannot be replicated. So we have a real gem here. It's just people don't know about it in that region, in the Asia-Pacific region and in the Middle Eastern region, right? So what I'm trying to do on my behalf, Latrae, we're doing similar things, but on my behalf, what I'm trying to do is basically, we need to come together as a Commonwealth of the Bahamas, both public and private sector, in marketing ourselves in the Asia-Pacific region.
And then the funny thing that Danny would allude to that is that last year, summer, I met with the Minister of Tourism. I told him that I had the intent of starting a campaign to market the Bahamas in Asia. He said to me that, you know, the Ministry of Tourism had the same interest of doing it. I didn't know what happened, but I know I took matters into my own hand. And we started, I said to the group of Bahamians who are in China, they could speak the language. I said to them that we're going to run a private campaign marketing the Bahamas, and we're going to call it the Yards of June. I spent numerous afternoons meeting with the leaders in the tourism industry in China, asking them for help in marketing this country. And when they saw the Atlantis, they said, oh, I know, a beautiful place, and they love Atlantis. So what we said is that we understand that the tourism market is declining. And so there's a need for quick action. So we said that we'll do a stopgap measure, implementing a 5 years plan to promote Bahamian tourism. And so what we're seeing now in January, in June of this month, and it's still being planned, you're going to have Bahama Ministry of Tourism coming to have a forum for the first time on the Bahamas tourism product.
In June of this year?
In June of this year. And that's when you take your civic responsibility as a citizen, not waiting on the government, and you take that lead, and the government would follow you. That's one of the things we have done. I think that when we look at the Bahamas touristic product, you compare it against Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii, We beat them in every category, besides providing a safe environment. We're going to tackle that issue, and we have to tackle that issue of providing a safe environment. But when it comes to luxury resorts, family beaches, romantic weddings, well, the Bahamas overperforms.
Listen, we have an embassy in China, don't we? The Bahamas does?
They do. They do an exceptional job. They do an exceptional job in assisting us when necessary, and they are there for us when we call for them.
Yes, but what about marketing the Bahamas?
That is the problem. And we have to...
Are they doing an exceptional job in marketing the Bahamas?
Let me
They
get that
do an
one.
exceptional job in assisting you, yes, okay, good. But what about marketing the Bahamas in the various provinces of China?
Fine question, Mr. Jones. And, you know, this is kind of why, me and Latrae, we have a similar goal, right? But we have to understand the Commonwealth of the Bahamas compared, we don't have the kind of big bucks that these first world countries have that are doing the exact same thing as us. So although as private enterprises we have taken an incentive to go ahead and try and start, it's going to take a large fund, which the Bahamas government right now, I understand, is lacking a bit of funds in regards to marketing, right? So that's why I am now trying to encourage a union in both private and public enterprises in creating a large marketing fund to go across, because like you said in the beginning of the segment, China's a very big place. It's not going to take a couple $1,000s and some flyers to get done what we need to be done.
And
you need millions of dollars and a lot of manpower to get it done properly, to get it across the entire country. You have countries like Turkey that are spending millions of dollars. Millions of dollars, their ads are running on the TV. And of course, you know, you would know, the more views you have for a station, the more expensive an advert is going to be. So you have a population in China of what, 1.6?
1.6 billion.
Is it 1.6?
So 1.6 billion.
1.6 billion people. So just imagine the viewership on these public, on these channels.
What we've decided to do, because we understand that, you know, we don't have the resources, right? And so this is a call for re-strategizing. So we look at the primary cities. We understand that the average traveler goes for luxury. So we have to create a tailor-made campaign strategy wholesomely for the luxury. Now here's the problem. Every family island in the Bahamas don't have a luxury resort. So mom and pop might get left out. And the idea is to spread that economic activity across the Bahamas. So we're trying to find ways of how do we cater to the luxury, and how do we allow capital to get to the small hotels or the small inns in the Bahamas. So we think that we may not have the resources now, but we could tap into the small niche markets and slowly integrate the Bahamas on social media, or go to a forum, or tell a friend. You know, it's the small measures first. I think that, you know, it won't happen overnight. It took us surely 20 years. I think that we're onto something. We're progressing well. And I think, unfortunately, this year with Bahamas, I think I'm expecting great things from it.
Well, Bahamas is probably going to do some serious marketing in China. But I just wonder when all of this marketing is done, whether or not we have room capacity in the Bahamas. Because we don't have too many rooms.
Well,
we have about 8,000 rooms.
But the room capacity is the smallest problem we have. We have to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place for the Asian traveler, to ensure that we have customer service, because you're coming from a country where customer service is expected.
Yeah, but you need the capacity to receive them in the first place.
I'm saying that's...
If you don't have the capacity to receive them, if you have 8,000 rooms, as opposed to 50,000 rooms, then you don't have 50,000 rooms. We have less rooms in the Bahamas than you have in Jamaica or the Dominican Republic.
And I understand the amount of rooms we have. I understand that point. Let's say what's even more frightening is that you're gonna need highly skilled and trained Bahamian workers working in the industry who appreciate the tourism industry. If we don't have that, then the rooms have no value, because you could have 50 rooms, and if they aren't trained, who are the rooms for?
Well, let me interject right there quickly. You see, that's the thing with the foreign direct investment, right? Just imagine the Bahamas basically as a land that's almost plain, as in it's clear, right? It's not much development in a lot of these islands. What the investor is going to see is because of our natural beauty and our natural geographic location. Now, rooms is not a problem because they're going to be able to build the resorts to accommodate the tourists that are coming. Of course, if they see that the market is there and that they can get these tourists from China to come here, they will build the hotels and resorts to accommodate them. Infrastructure won't be a problem because if they see that the people are coming, the market is there, they will help in funding the government in developing the infrastructure once they are able to get a return on their investment.
Not even.
But you see, normally when you are marketing something, you ought to have the capacity for reception to receive visitors. If you're marketing, say, for tourism, you should have that capacity. Another thing, it's the language barrier.
Yeah, the language barrier.
The extent to which you have Bahamians who are trained to receive them. Whether or not you have the ancillary services to attract or to receive these Chinese visitors. And what I'm asking is whether or not we are ready.
I'm going to be honest with you. The Bahamas in 2005 was given the approval for China. We didn't take advantage of the approval. We didn't prepare for it. We don't have they're in the process of recruiting Mandarin-speaking Bahamians. But I don't know the number of the amount they have. But I know that the issue is, if we don't have, if we have a small minority of persons who could speak the language, and a small majority of persons who need the business, then that becomes a problem. Because you can't have agents coming to the airport, not going to the taxi. The taxi drivers can't do the local tours. That means then there becomes a monopoly because we fail to prepare the mass. So that's my biggest concern.
That's where I'm at. That's the thinking.
That's the biggest concern because you can't have two talk companies speaking, only being specialized in speaking Mandarin, and the taxi union don't have any business.
Well, this is my point on this, right? You see, we as a people, me and Latrae, and other Bahamians as well, are now seeing the vision for China, the economic bridge between China and the Bahamas. Now, the reason why a lot of other Bahamians aren't utilizing and learning Mandarin and studying the culture and learning the food and such things is because they don't see the real importance of it. Now, if we can tell the taxi union that we have a prediction of over, $500 million in growth for them, on one exception, you have to learn to speak Chinese. I'm sure some of them are going to sit down and learn Chinese.
Really? You think
for
so?
the money.
You really think
I
so?
think so. I think people are driven by
You think
success.
you have cab drivers who would take the time to learn Mandarin?
There are some who speak Spanish.
But regardless of whether or not they're going to learn how to do it, I think we're going to have to find mechanisms, whether it is recording already pre-recorded tour of the Bahamas in Mandarin. We're going to have to find methods because we want to ensure that everyone gets a piece of this economic pie coming from China. Now, the issue is that we're facing is we have this great opposition that oppose China. And
which opposition is that?
There's a Bahamian segment of Bahamians who don't like the idea of a Bahamas-China relationship. I was listening to the talk shows after the Valley Boys did a stunning job on Bay Street Boxing Day with China. And I saw the feedbacks and the remarks made from it. And I said to Donnie that we have a serious issue. Either they don't know the benefits of China, or they don't like foreign direct investment.
Do you think they have a phobia?
Yes.
A phobia of people coming to dominate?
Yes. Well, I've said this. We're in the position where we have to prevent a catastrophe. We have thousands of students graduating of college, of high school. We have no employment for them. That's a catastrophe. We have 700 islands and keys underdeveloped. That's a catastrophe. We have college students wanting to return home without any opportunities. That's a catastrophe. It's even a bigger catastrophe if we don't take advantage of a growing economy that has the resources to secure our future.
Yeah, but when you have a people who are xenophobic and who do not want to be overwhelmed by a particular culture, and you rightly said, you heard the comments after the Valley Boys presentation on Boxing Day. There are some people who believe, even when they were negotiating the construction of the Bahamas, you had a whole lot of people who say, oh, you know, they're going to import these 8,000 Chinese and what they're going to do to the economy. Now, we don't see that. As a matter of fact, the Chinese have come here. They are building that hotel. It's almost completed. They built an embassy. You didn't even see many Chinese.
You see them.
No. You know?
They come in, they do their job.
They do their job and they leave.
So
let's speak to that phobia, whether or not Bahamians ought to be concerned about being overwhelmed by Chinese.
What I've said this, that the Bahamas need foreign direct investment to develop its country.
Not necessarily Chinese.
Not necessarily Chinese, but foreign direct investment in generally speaking. And if we have the right set of laws that protect the interests of Bahamians, regardless of whether they're Chinese, Americans or Canadians, the laws would be in place to protect and secure the future of the Bahamas. So you don't have that phobia. But and I'm not going to touch on politics, but there may be a confidence issue on whether or not they could trust their leaders in securing or carrying out that legislation. And so I think that we have laws there to protect the Bahamas. They probably don't have any confidence in the law. What can we do? All we're saying is this is a great opportunity for the Bahamas. I think we should seize it, we should move on it, and we're going to do our job in bringing awareness of the benefits to Bahamians. I think once we do that, we'll reduce the fear and the tensions they have with the Chinese.
There are certain cultural imperatives that we have to look at, and we'll take a look at those when we return. This is The Platform. We'll come right back.